23 ways to stop overthinking, how to quiet your mind, make better decisions, and start living. Have you ever been exhausted without doing anything physically difficult? You spent the entire day thinking, replaying a conversation, analyzing a message, worrying about tomorrow, imagining everything that could go wrong, and by the time night arrives, your body is tired, but your mind is still wide awake. Overthinking is strange. It feels like you're solving a problem, but sometimes you're simply walking around the same thought in circles. The good news is that you don't need to control every thought to become calmer. You need to change your relationship with your thoughts. Here are 23 powerful ways to stop overthinking and start living. 1. Notice the thought. The first step is surprisingly simple. Notice when you're doing it. Instead of becoming lost inside a thought, say, "I'm overthinking right now." That small sentence creates distance. You are no longer completely inside the thought. You're observing it. An observation gives you choice. 2. Ask, "Is this a fact?" Your mind can create convincing stories. They probably hate me. I'm definitely going to fail. Something bad is going to happen. But ask yourself, what do I actually know? Separate facts from predictions. A thought can feel real without being true. 3. Stop trying to predict everything. Overthinking often comes from one impossible desire: certainty. You want to know exactly what will happen, how someone will respond, whether your decision will work, whether your future will be successful. But life doesn't provide guarantees. Instead of asking, "What will happen?" ask, "If something unexpected happens, can I handle it?" That question gives you your power back. 4. Focus on what you control. Make 2 mental lists. Things you control and things you don't. You control your effort, your preparation, your choices, your words, your response. You don't control another person's opinion, the past, the weather, every outcome. Put your energy where it can actually create change. 5. Turn worry into action. Worry without action becomes a loop. So whenever your mind says, "I'm worried about this," ask, "What can I do about it today?" If there's an action, take it. If there isn't, release the thought for now. Action gives your mind somewhere useful to go. 6. Give yourself a decision deadline. Some decisions deserve careful thought, but not every decision deserves 3 days of analysis. Choose a reasonable deadline, then decide. You don't need the perfect choice. You need a choice you can learn from. Remember, a good decision made today is often more valuable than a perfect decision made too late. 7. Stop replaying the past. Your mind may replay an embarrassing moment hundreds of times, but the event has already happened. Ask yourself, is there anything I can learn from this? If yes, take the lesson. If no, stop paying rent to a memory that cannot change. The past is information. It is not your current location. 8. Don't live in imaginary futures. Your mind can create entire disasters that haven't happened. You imagine the rejection, the failure, the argument, the embarrassment, and your body reacts as if it's already real. Come back to what is actually happening. Look around, take a breath. Ask what is happening right now. Most of the time, the present is much safer than the story in your head. 9. Write it down. When thoughts stay inside your head, they can feel enormous. Put them on paper. Write everything. No grammar, no structure, just empty your mind. Then look at what you wrote. You'll often discover that the problem isn't as complicated as it felt 5 minutes earlier. Writing turns mental noise into something you can examine. 10. Create a worry window. This sounds strange, but give your worrying a scheduled time. For example, 7 o'clock, 20 minutes. During that time, think about the problem. Write down concerns. Consider solutions, then stop. If the thought returns later, tell yourself, I'll deal with this during my worry window. You're teaching your brain that it doesn't need to interrupt your entire day. 11. Stop asking everyone for reassurance. Sometimes overthinking hides behind endless questions. Do you think I made the right choice? Are you sure everything is okay? What would you do? Advice can help, but constantly seeking reassurance can make your confidence weaker. Learn to tolerate a little uncertainty. You don't need everyone to confirm your decision. Sometimes, you have to trust yourself. 12. Reduce your digital noise. Your mind cannot rest when you constantly feed it information. Notifications, short videos, news, arguments, messages, opinions. Every piece of information gives your brain something new to process. Create periods where your phone is simply silent. Not every thought deserves an immediate response. Not every notification deserves your attention. Protect your mental space. 13. Move your body. Overthinking happens inside the mind. Sometimes the fastest way to interrupt it is to move your body. Walk, stretch, exercise, clean your room, go outside. Physical movement can shift your attention away from repetitive thinking. You don't need to solve every thought while sitting still. Sometimes you need to move. 14. Breathe before you react. When your mind is racing, don't immediately make decisions. Pause, take a few slow breaths, relax your shoulders, let your body settle, then respond. A calm mind makes different decisions from a frightened mind. The pause between a thought and an action is where self-control lives. 15. Stop chasing perfection. Perfectionism is one of overthinking's favorite disguises. You keep researching, you keep editing, you keep preparing. You tell yourself you're improving the decision. But sometimes, you're simply afraid to begin. Done doesn't always mean perfect, it means finished. Progress requires movement. 16. Give yourself permission to be wrong. You will make bad decisions. Everyone does. You will misunderstand people, choose the wrong opportunity, make mistakes. That's not evidence that you're incapable. It's evidence that you're human. A person who believes they must never be wrong will eventually become afraid to act. Give yourself permission to learn. 17. Stop comparing. Your life. Comparison creates endless mental questions. Why am I behind? Why are they more successful? Why don't I have what they have? But you're comparing your complete reality with a carefully selected piece of someone else's life. Measure yourself against your previous self. Ask, am I becoming better than I was? That's a comparison worth making. 18. Practice doing one thing at a time. Overthinking becomes worse when your attention is scattered. You're eating while scrolling, watching something while answering messages, working while checking notifications. Your mind never finishes one experience. Try something different. One task, one conversation, one meal, one walk, one moment. Attention is a muscle. Train it. 19. Accept that some questions have no answer. This may be one of the hardest lessons. Sometimes you'll never know why someone changed. You'll never know exactly what would have happened if you had chosen differently. You'll never know what the future holds, and that's okay. Closure doesn't always come from getting an answer. Sometimes closure comes from deciding that you can continue without one. 20. Talk to someone you trust. Overthinking grows in isolation. A healthy conversation can help you see what your mind cannot see alone. Choose someone who listens without constantly feeding your fear. Sometimes you don't need advice. You simply need another human being to help you see the situation clearly. And if persistent overthinking is seriously affecting your sleep, work, relationships, or daily functioning, speaking with a qualified mental health professional can be a valuable step. Asking for help isn't weakness. It's another form of taking action. 21. Build a simple daily routine. Chaos creates more decisions. more decisions create more opportunities to overthink. A simple routine gives your mind structure. Wake up, move your body, do your important work, eat, rest, disconnect, sleep. Your routine doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to make life a little easier to navigate. 22. Return to the present. Here's a simple exercise. Look around you. Name 5 things you can see. Notice 4 things you can physically feel. Listen for 3 sounds. Take 2 slow breaths. Then ask yourself, what do I need to do right now? Not tomorrow, not next year, right now. Because your mind can only live in the present. Everything else is memory or imagination. 23. Learn to let the thought pass. And finally, perhaps the most important lesson, you don't have to defeat every thought. You don't have to argue with it. You don't have to prove it wrong. Sometimes, you simply let it pass. Imagine sitting beside a river, leaves float past you. One leaf catches your attention. You could jump into the river and chase it. Or, you could remain on the shore, watch it disappear. Your thoughts are those leaves. Let them move. You are the observer. Not every thought deserves your attention. Not every fear deserves your belief. Not every possibility deserves your energy. And not every problem needs to be solved tonight. So, take a breath. Look at your life as it actually is, not as your fear says it might become. You may have problems. You may have uncertainty. You may have mistakes behind you and questions ahead of you. But you are here, and that means you still have choices. You can make the phone call, take the first step, close the unnecessary tab, finish the work, forgive yourself, ask for help, go outside. Sleep, begin again. The goal isn't to create a mind that never thinks. The goal is to create a mind that knows when to think, when to act, and when to let go. Because life is happening while you're analyzing it. The conversation is happening while you're worrying about what to say. The opportunity is passing while you're waiting for certainty. The moment is disappearing while you're trying to make the next moment perfect. You don't need to solve your entire life tonight. You only need to stop abandoning the present for problems that may never arrive. So when your mind becomes loud tomorrow, pause, breathe, observe, choose, and return to your life, one moment at a time. Because peace isn't the absence of thoughts, peace is knowing. You don't have to follow every thought that appears, and perhaps, before you leave, I want you to remember one thing. You don't have to become a completely different person tomorrow. You don't have to silence your mind forever, and you don't have to solve every problem tonight. Start smaller. The next time your mind begins creating 100 different possibilities, stop, take one breath, and ask yourself, is this thought helping me? Or is it simply keeping me trapped? If it is helping you, take action. If it is not, let it pass. You are allowed to move forward without having every answer. You are allowed to make mistakes. You are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to begin again. And most importantly, you are allowed to enjoy your life before everything is perfect, because perfection may never arrive. But this moment is already here. So stop waiting for the perfect version of yourself to finally start living. Start with the person you are today. Take the walk, make the call, open the book. Finish the work, tell someone you love them, watch the sunset, laugh without analyzing why, rest without feeling guilty, and when tomorrow brings another storm of thoughts. Remember, you are not every thought that enters your mind. You are the person who decides what to do with those thoughts. Your mind may create fear. You can choose courage. Your mind may create doubt. You can choose action. Your mind may create endless possibilities. You can choose one direction and take one step. That's enough for today and sometimes. One peaceful moment is all it takes to begin changing an entire life. Thank you for listening. If this audiobook gave you even one idea that can make your life a little calmer, Share it with someone who spends too much time inside their own head. And if you're ready to build a quieter, stronger, more focused mind, stay with us, because this is only the beginning. Until next time, take a breath, let the thought pass, and go live your life.